On the day college entrance exam scores were released, they checked their scores together, chose schools together, and planned their future together. I sat nearby, unable to find even a crack to interject. 10 minutes before the application deadline, Zhou Yan finally called me. He said, "Lin Tang and I both applied to the same university. You should follow along too. Happy now?" I stared at the computer screen, moving the mouse toward another city. From that day on, I stopped chasing. The college application system page was frozen on the screen, white background. Black text. The light making my eyes ache. Someone was dragging a suitcase past the dormitory building, the wheels grinding over the tiles in a steady rumble. The cicadas outside pressed their calls against the window, and the air conditioner vent blew out a damp, musty smell. I deleted the school code for my first choice university, then typed it back in. Deleted. Typed it back in. That school was in the south. 300 kilometers away from home. And even farther from the city where Zhou Yan and Lin Tang were about to go. The phone vibrated for the 7th time. Lin Tang sent a screenshot in the 3-person group chat. Her list of college applications. First line, Peking University, Finance. Second line, Kyoto University Law. Third line, Kyoto University Economics. Zhou Yan replied, "The first choice is safe. Don't fill in randomly." Lin Tang sent a smiley face. "You're safe too. We can be classmates again." I stared at the S2, my fingers resting on the keyboard. The pads of my fingertips pressed into a faint indent by the keycaps. The group chat was called the Iron Triangle. From middle school through high school, everyone in our class called us that. Zhou Yan was first, Lin Tang was second, and I was third. It's not third in grades, but third in seating. Third in group photos, third in group assignments, and even when others joke around calling names, it's always Zhou Yan, Lin Tang, and Su Ji. It's not like I haven't tried. In my first year of high school, Zhou Yan got stuck on a physics competition problem. I stayed with him in the study room until the security guard kicked us out, bought him hot soy milk, and flipped through his error notebook for him. He looked up at me and said, "Don't bother staying up. You wouldn't understand this problem anyway." Lin Tang smiled and took it over. "Su Ji can just handle the logistics. She's meticulous." I inserted the straw into the soy milk and took a sip, the heat numbing my tongue. The two of them continued to bow their heads in discussion, the tips of their pens scratching out dense formulas on the paper. I sat across from them, like an eraser forgotten at the corner of the table. In the 3rd year of high school, during the graduation photo shoot, the photographer shouted, "Girls in the front row, crouch down a bit. Zhou Yan and Lin Tang, stand in the middle. You two stand out the most." I was originally standing next to Lin Tang when someone squeezed in from behind, bumping into my shoulder. Lin Tang turned to look at me. "Ji. Move over a little. Don't block Zhou Yan." I stepped aside, stepping back to the far right of the photo. Only half a face remains. Later, when the photo was developed, Lin Tang posted it on her Moments. The caption read, "Youth has you." Zhou Yan commented, "And me." I opened the original image, zoomed in, and only then found the edge of my half-school uniform collar at the corner. That night, I liked that post on Moments. Lin Tang messaged me privately, "Ji, why didn't you comment?" I typed half a line, then deleted it. Finally, I replied, "You filmed it very well." She sent a string of laughter. "Why do you sound like an outsider?" I stared at those 3 words. Outsider. My chest feeling as if a hand was squeezing it. I was already standing outside. My phone vibrated again. Zhou Yan finally messaged me privately, "Have you finished filling it out?" I glanced at the bottom right corner of my computer screen. There are 10 minutes left until the deadline for filling out volunteer applications. 10 minutes. They started discussing from the day the scores were released. Researching majors, dormitories, clubs, cafeterias, and every path for the next 4 years. I asked once on the side, "Where do you want to go?" Lin Tang bit the pen and said, "Not decided yet. I'll let you know when it is." Zhou Yan didn't even look up. First, make sure you understand the cutoff scores. I waited for 5 days. I waited until 10 minutes before the deadline. Until they finally remembered me. When the phone rang, my fingers hovered above the mouse. The name of the southern school on the screen glaringly bright. I answered. It was noisy on Zhou Yan's end, probably at Lin Tang's place. Lin Tang's voice squeezed through the receiver. Ji. Quickly fill in the school next to Jing University. It's very close to us. Just 20 minutes by subway. Zhou Yan took over the conversation. Your score is enough. Don't dawdle. I asked. You're only telling me now. There was a pause on the other end of the line. Lin Tang said. We've been looking into it all along. I thought you knew. I said. You never told me. Zhou Yan clicked his tongue lightly. What's there to fuss about? It's not too late to say it now. I stared at the countdown. 9 minutes and 26 seconds. 9 minutes and 25 seconds. Zhou Yan said. Su Ji. Don't throw another tantrum. Lin Tang lowered her voice. Ji. We were also worried you wouldn't adapt to being alone in a new place. I asked. Then why didn't you ask me earlier where I wanted to go? The phone went silent again. So silent that I could hear the clock in Lin Tang's house ticking. Click. Clack. Zhou Yan spoke. His tone carrying a hint of impatience. Haven't you always wanted to follow us? My hand gripping the mouse tightened. He continued. Now we've chosen for you. Are you happy? Are you happy? Those 4 words hit me like a thunderclap. And my ears rang. The cicadas outside stopped chirping. Someone in the hallway closed a door. The door panel slammed against the frame, shaking the water glass on the table. I stared at the white marks I had scratched into the black mouse pad. And suddenly remembered many things. I remembered how, after school every day, they would walk side by side ahead of me, while I followed behind, carrying the materials for all 3 of us. I remembered Lin Tang's birthday. When Zhou Yan ordered a cake and asked me to pick it up, the shop assistant asked if I was the birthday girl, and I said no. I remembered taking sick leave once, and when I returned to school the next day, Lin Tang handed me a stack of test papers and said, Ji, great. You're back. Help me catch up on the notes, will you? I remember Zhou Yan taking my umbrella to give to Lin Tang, then turning back to say to me, your home is close. Just run a bit. That day, rainwater poured in through the collar of my school uniform, chilling me so much that my teeth chattered, but I still ran home. And the next day I brought him ginger tea again. I thought that if I was just a little better, a little more useful, they would eventually turn around and look at me. People never look down at the shadows at their feet. They only complain that the shadows follow too closely. Countdown. 7 minutes and 2 seconds. I deleted all the school codes in the search box. Lin Tang shouted over the phone. Ji, did you hear that? Hurry up. Zhou Yan said. Don't dawdle. You always make mistakes when you're in a hurry. I opened another school from my bookmarks. Nanchang University of Media and Communications. It's not a top-tier prestigious school, and its admission cutoff isn't as high as the one next to Kyoto University. I looked into its documentary program, checked out past student works, found out how many minutes it takes to walk from the dorm to the teaching building, and looked up whether it snows in the city during winter. I did all that research alone, without Zhou Yan, without Lin Tang. I put it as my first choice. My second and third choices were also all schools in the south. Zhou Yan's voice tightened. Su Ji, don't be foolish. I said softly. I've filled it in. Lin Tang breathed a sigh of relief. That's good. Which school did you apply to? I stared at the submit button. My finger hovered over the mouse. I wanted to explain. To ask if they would hear me out. To pour out all the grievances I had bottled up over the years. But when the words reached my lips, only a hardened breath remained. I pressed submit. A confirmation box popped up on the page. I pressed it again. System prompt. Volunteer submission successful. 3 minutes and 41 seconds remain. I held the phone a little farther away and said to them. Southern City Media University. The other end of the line went dead. A few seconds later, Lin Tang shrieked. Are you crazy? Zhou Yan's voice dropped. Suji, change your application back. I said. Can't change it. It's already submitted. Cancel it and fill it in again. 3 minutes before the deadline. The system locked. Zhou Yan's breathing grew heavy. You did that on purpose. I stared at the line on the screen that read submission successful. My eyes stinging from the white light. But no tears fell. Yes. Lin Tang grew anxious. Ji, don't gamble with your future out of spite. It's not like we're abandoning you. I let out a faint smile. My throat dry and aching. But I don't want to chase anymore. Zhou Yan seemed not to understand. What are you chasing? I didn't answer. I hung up the phone, set the 3-person group chat to mute, and flipped my phone over, face down on the table, before the screen went dark. Zhou Yan sent a message. Suji, you're making a scene now, but when school starts, you'll still regret it. I didn't click on it. The wind blew in through the window, lifting a corner of the curtain. And the college application confirmation page on the desk trembled slightly. I stared at my name. Suji, my exam registration number, and my first choice, Nanchang Media University. At that moment, my hands were shaking badly. It's not fear. It's that thread that had been taut for 6 years, finally snapping. On the day the acceptance letter arrived, the sun was so hot it made the doorknob burn to the touch. The courier called my name from downstairs. I ran down in my slippers, the hallway thick with the smell of cooking oil. And a neighbor's kid leaned over the railing, watching me. The red envelope felt stiff in my hand, its corners pressing into my palm. I tore it open, and the words Nanchang Media University spread across the paper. The ink print clear. My mother stood beside me, wiping the water off her hands. Do you really have to go that far? I nodded. She looked at me for a moment, didn't try to persuade me further, and only said, once you go, live well, don't always think about others. I put the acceptance letter into the folder, smoothing out the creases with my fingers. My phone stayed silent for half a month. Zhou Yan didn't contact me again. Lin Tang did send a few messages. Ji, are you still angry? We didn't mean to leave you out of the discussion. Why are you so stubborn? Come out and grab a meal. I didn't reply. Later, she posted a photo of Kyoto University's admission letter on her Moments. In the photo, Zhou Yan sat beside her, with the 2 admission letters placed side by side, and 2 iced coffees on the table. Caption: From school uniforms to university, still side by side. Mutual friends flooded the comments below. You two are such a perfect match. Looks like the iron triangle is missing one. Where's Suji? Lin Tang replied. She went to Nanchang. I hope she gets better and better too. That word too got stuck in my throat. I turned off my phone, crouched on the floor of my room, and folded my clothes one by one into the suitcase. The school uniform was pressed at the very bottom, with a faded, whitened cuff peeking out. I felt an old note in my pocket. During the sophomore year sports meet, Zhou Yan was running the 1,500 meters. I wrote a cheer note for him, and it was read 3 times over the broadcast. On the back of the note, he had casually scribbled 2 words. Thanks. Back then, I tucked it into a book, feeling like I had been seen for once. The note is now crumpled into a ball, its edges yellowed. I toss it into the trash can. The paper ball falls, hits the plastic bag, and makes a soft sound. The day before school starts, Lin Tang and Zhou Yan come to the downstairs of my house. When my mom called me, I was checking my documents. Ji, a classmate is looking for you. I stood by the window and looked down. Lin Tang, wearing a white dress with her hair tied up, tilted her face up and waved at me. Zhou Yan stood under the shade of a tree, holding a paper bag in his hand, his expression indifferent. I went downstairs. Half of the hallway lights were broken, and the sound of footsteps echoed layer by layer down the empty staircase. As soon as Lin Tang saw me, she rushed over, her arms halfway extended before stopping. I didn't open my hands. Her smile froze on her face. Ji, you've lost weight. Zhou Yan handed over the paper bag. I bought this for you. I didn't take it. He frowned. A power bank and a travel adapterial, need them when you go out of town alone. I said. I already bought them. Lin Tang quickly added. It doesn't hurt to have an extra one. Zhou Yen picked them out specially. I looked at the paper bag and remembered the times when they went out for competitions. I would check the weather in advance, prepare medicine, raincoats, and everything else everyone might forget. No one said I was being deliberate back then. They would only say, Su Ji, did you bring it? I stepped back half a pace. No need. Zhou Yan's hand froze in midair. The leaves rustled in the wind. And the sensor light at the entrance of the building downstairs went out. The shadows of a few people pressed flat by the dusk. Lin Tang grabbed my wrist. Ji. Don't be like this. We're about to start school, don't make things so ugly. Her fingernail scraped against my skin. I pulled my hand away. Where's the ugly part? Lin Tang was stunned. I said. Is it ugly if I don't accept things? Is it ugly if I don't report the same city as you? Is it ugly if I don't reply to messages? Zhou Yen said coldly. You know that's not what she meant. I turned to look at him. So, what do you think she meant? Zhou Yen pressed his lips together. He had been like this since childhood whenever he stayed silent. Others would find an excuse for him. The teacher would say he has his own opinions. Lin Tang would say he doesn't like to explain. I used to say that Zhou Yen wasn't actually cold. He just didn't know how to express himself. Now I don't want to translate for him anymore. Lin Tang's eyes reddened. Gigi, we've known each other for so many years. Are you really going to cut ties with us over this college application thing? I looked at her. It's not because of the college application. Lin Tang sniffled. Then what is it? I have so much to say. About how every time you plan a dinner, you only ask Zhou Yen what he wants to eat. About how you discussed the competition list while I stood nearby for half an hour, only to be assigned to print materials in the end. About how you clearly knew I'm afraid of the dark. Yet after the movie ended at night, you still pulled Zhou Yen to leave first, leaving me alone at the mall entrance waiting for a ride. Every time you say we, it doesn't include me. But looking at her face, I suddenly felt it wasn't necessary. She would explain. She would say it wasn't intentional. She will cry. Zhou Yen will take her side and say I'm making a mountain out of a molehill. Then everything will go back to square one. I'll bear all the harsh words and continue to be the sensei. Blee one. I said. Lin Tang. I'm tired. Her hand dropped down. Zhou Yen stared at me. You're being so absolute now. Don't regret it later. I nodded. Okay. His brow twitched. Su Ji. I looked up. Don't use that tone with me from now on. Zhou Yan's expression changed. Lin Tang grabbed his sleeve. Forge. It. Zhou Yan. Gigi is still angry. I glanced at her hand. Her action of grabbing his sleeve was too natural. So natural that she never thought I was watching too. I turned and walked upstairs. Lin Tang called out from behind. Su Ji, are we still friends? I stopped at the stairwell. The motion sensor light flicked on. White light pressing down from above. The wall paint cracked. Dust floating in the air. I said, you have always been friends with each other. I just happened to be nearby. After saying that, I went upstairs. There was no sound behind me for a long time. I returned to my room and closed the window, shutting out the sound of the wind downstairs. The next morning, I dragged my suitcase out the door. My mom saw me off at the station and handed me a bag of sliced apples. The ticket gate was crowded. The announcements echoed over and over, and suitcases bumped into each other. I turned back to take one last look at this city, without Zhou Yen, without Lin Tang. They didn't come to see me off. That's fine. I pulled my suitcase through the ticket gate. The ticket was swallowed and then spat back out. The gate opened. I walked forward without looking back. The summer in the southern city was more humid than I had imagined. When the plane landed, the clouds outside the window hung oppressively low. The ground was damp, and the air carried a mix of sea and gasoline. I dragged my suitcase out of the airport, sweat trickling down my back, my clothes clinging to my skin. The school's welcome bus was parked at the exit. with senior students holding signs and calling out majors. Documentary direction students. Over here. I looked up and saw a short-haired girl standing by the car door. Her voice loud and clear. Suji. She looked down at the list. Then at me. You're Suji. Right. I nodded. She reached out to take my suitcase. I'm Chin-hee, a sophomore. Did you pack bricks in this suitcase? I was taken aback for a moment and quickly said. I can handle it myself. Chin-hee had already lifted the suitcase onto the bus. With a flick of her wrist. The wheels bumped against the step. Don't be polite. It's a privilege for freshmen on their first day. After today, no one's going to spoil you. After she finished speaking. She smiled at me, revealing a canine tooth. I stood by the car door, still clutching my ID card, my palms drenched in sweat. People had helped me before, but after helping, most would add, Suji, remember to bring me a meal next time. Or Suji. Just send me the documents while you're at it. Chin-hee didn't ask for anything. She pushed me toward the window seat. Sit here. It's cooler under the draft. The car started moving, and the city's elevated highways swept past the window. The coconut tree leaves by the roadside glistening from the rain. I stared at the unfamiliar streets, a hollow feeling in my chest, slowly being filled by the wind. The dormitory is on the 6th floor. With no elevator, I moved the luggage together with 3 other girls. Chin-hee was called away by a teacher just after seeing me to the building entrance. Before leaving, she pressed a bottle of water into my hand and said, Don't push yourself. If you can't carry it, ask someone for help. I said, Thank you, senior. She waved her hand. Just call me Chin-hee. As the dormitory door swung open, a smell of wood and disinfectant rushed out. The bed by the window had my name on it. Suji. 2 characters were neatly written on white paper, pasted on the edge of the bed. I touched that piece of paper. This was the first time a spot had my name written on it from the very beginning. It wasn't something left over by someone else. It wasn't given up by anyone. It's mine. My roommates gradually arrived. One of them was named Suhee, with shoulder-length hair and half a suitcase full of books. One was named Xiao Ying, a local from the southern part of the city. She spoke quickly, and her laughter could pierce through the hallway. The other was named Xiao Yin, with sun-kissed wheat-colored skin, carrying a camera bag. The first thing she asked was, Who among you knows how to edit videos? I raised my hand slightly. A little. Xiao Yin's eyes lit up. Great. I've shot some footage. But my editing is a mess. She handed me the camera to look at. On the screen was a rural marketing aunt selling fish. An elderly man repairing umbrellas. Children taking shelter from the rain under a canopy. The footage was shaky, yet it carried a raw, vibrant energy. I couldn't help but say, this shot could be used for the opening. Xiao Yin leaned in. Why? I said. The kid kept staring at the camera. Then an old man behind him closed his umbrella. And the kid ran over like a thread linking the 2 scenes together. The dormitory fell silent for a moment. Suhee looked up from behind her book. You're really observant. Zhao Ying slapped the table. Suji, please save her. She showed me the fish stall for 10 minutes last night. And I almost thought I was going to be sold off. Xiao Yin lunged over to pinch her. I let out a laugh. When the laughter came out, even I was stunned for a moment. Turns out laughter can be this light. No need to check someone's expression first. No need to confirm if you're bothering anyone. After my shower at night, I sat on the bed to let my mom know I was safe. She asked, Are your classmates easy to get along with? I said, They're pretty nice. She said, Then don't keep it all bottled up. Speak up when something's on your mind. I hummed in acknowledgement. After hanging up, a message popped up on WeChat. Zhou Yen. Arrived at school. I stared at the screen. My fingers wanted to tap it open. Then stopped. This message was from over 10 hours ago. If it were before, I would have replied immediately. I've arrived. The dorm is pretty good. How about you? Then wait a few hours for him to reply with a simple I put my phone by the pillow and didn't reply. Half an hour later, Lin Tang sent a photo. Kyoto University's main gate. Gigi. We've checked in. What about you? In the photo, Zhou Yan stood beside her, with half of his shoulder in the frame. I opened it, then closed it again. Xiao Yin called out from the lower bunk. Su Ji. Want to go pick up the textbooks together tomorrow? I poked my head out. Sure, she said. It's settled then. Whoever sleeps in treats the other to soy milk. Zhao Ying immediately chimed in. I want sweet soy milk. Su, he said. I'll have it without sugar. I turned my phone face down and lay down. Outside the window, the rain tapped against the iron railing, beat by beat. In the dorm, someone was flipping through a book, someone was blow-drying their hair, and someone was humming softly. For the first time, my world was just the right amount of noisy. The next day, they stood in a long line to pick up textbooks. The sun pressing down through gaps in the clouds, steam rising from the playground ground. Xiao Yin hung the camera around her neck and photographed everything she saw. Zhao Ying teased her. When you make a documentary in the future, you should call it, A Life of Waiting in Line. Su He, holding a book, said. Or you could call it, The Bloodbath Caused by Soy Milk. I was holding a stack of textbooks, my shoulders shaking with laughter. Suddenly, someone at the front of the line called out. Who is Su Ji? I looked up. The academic affairs teacher stood by the tent, holding a list in hand. Your score on the Chinese essay portion of the college entrance exam was very high. The college's official WeChat account is looking for a new student to write a short welcome piece. Would you like to give it a try? I froze. Xiao Yin immediately nudged me. She's willing. Zhao Ying chimed in from the side. Su Ji, go for it. Su He nodded. You can. I hugged the book, my knuckles turning white from the pressure. In the past, when similar opportunities arose, the teacher would first look for Zhou Yan, then Lin Tang. Only when they were too busy would they say, Su Ji, could you help polish this a bit? I've never been at the top of the list. The teacher asked. Is it okay? I took a breath of hot air, my throat feeling a bit dry. It's okay. That night, I sat at my dormitory desk writing until dawn. Outside the window, the street lamp lit up the wet ground. Mosquitoes bumped against the screen, and the glow from the computer screen fell onto the keyboard. I wrote about the humidity of the southern city, about the stairs on the 6th floor, about my name taped to the bed by the window. In the end, I deleted the line. I finally left them. Changed to. I came here and for the first time realized that even my own name could be written in advance. After the draft was sent, I stared at the words sent successfully for a long time. My phone lit up. Zhou Yan sent another message. Su Ji, are you done yet? I didn't reply. I turned off my phone, closed my laptop, and climbed into bed. At night, the wind slipped through the cracks in the window, carrying the grassy scent of rain. I closed my eyes and heard someone singing downstairs soft-key, cracking notes, laughter colliding into a mess. My first night in the South City, no one called me the third. The day the college official account posted the article, I was queuing for clay pot rice noodles in the cafeteria. Zhao Ying suddenly rushed over clutching her phone, not even holding her chopsticks steady. Su Ji, you've gone viral. The tray in my hand almost slipped. She shoved the screen right in front of my face. The tweet's title was Freshman Su Ji. My name was written by the window. The views had already exceeded 10,000. The comments section scrolls down row by row. Such detailed writing, it reminds me of my own reporting day, when she wrote about the 6th floor. My legs started to ache. This batch of freshmen has got something. I stared at my own name, my ears ringing. Xiao Yin came over with the soup. We're treating you to milk tea tonight. Su He added. With Xiao Ying's money she lost a bet yesterday. Zhao Ying glared at her. You bookworm. Your heart is too dirty. I haven't even laughed yet when my phone vibrates. Lin Tang sends a screenshot. It's exactly that tweet. Gigi, did you write this? Someone in our school group chat is sharing it too. The next one will follow soon. Why didn't you tell us? I stared at this line, my fingertips pausing on the screen for a few seconds. Back when I won second prize in the school essay contest. I excitedly posted it in the group chat of 3. Zhou Yan replied. Lin Tang said after a long pause. Gigi is amazing. Help me take a look at this speech draft. After that, I never brought it up again on my own. This time, I don't want to say it either. I locked my phone screen and took the clay pot handed over by the cafeteria auntie. The clay pot was so hot that my fingertips flinched. Steam hit my face, and the smell of pickled bamboo shoots filled my nose. Zhao Ying asked, "Who is it?" I said, "A former classmate." Xiao Yin looked up. "The kind that makes you unhappy." I was taken aback for a moment. She didn't ask, "Aren't you on good terms?" Nor did she ask, "What happened between you?" She only saw my expression. I picked up a rice noodle and lowered my head to blow on it. Sort of. Zhao Ying immediately placed her braised egg into my bowl. "Eat. It'll ward off the bad vibes." He pushed the tissue over. "Don't burn yourself." Xiao Yin said, "We'll edit the footage tonight. You'll be the director." I looked up at them. The cafeteria ceiling lights were bright, and the place was unbearably noisy, people grabbing seats. Someone shouting for the auntie to add more spice. Someone laughing and slapping the table. But that hard knot in my chest suddenly loosened a little. That night, Xiao Yin dumped all the market footage she had shot into the computer. We crowded around the small table, the fan creaking and whirring. The dormitory floor littered with snack bags. I helped her organize the structure. The opening was a child under the awning, the middle section an old man repairing umbrellas, and the ending a lamp swaying in the wind as the stalls closed at dusk. Xiao Yin leaned over the back of the chair, her eyes sparkling. "Ji, don't ever say you only know a little bit anymore. This is knowing a whole lot." Zhao Ying munched on chips as she said, "Our teacher Su here. Every move she makes is film festival material." He took notes on the side. Narrative threads, character relationships, environmental sounds. My shoulders tensed up at their words. I wanted to laugh, but I didn't know how to respond. In the past, when others praised Zhou Yan, he would accept it naturally. When others praised Lin Tang, she would smile and say, "Not at all." When I was praised, I always wanted to steer the conversation away, as if standing in the spotlight meant I had stolen someone else's place. Xiao Yin noticed my awkwardness and tapped the table. "Ji, just take the compliment." Zhao Ying held up a bag of chips. "Say it again." "Ji is amazing." He nodded seriously. "Ji is amazing." I bit down on the straw. The milk tea sickeningly sweet. My throat tightened for a moment, and I said, "Thank you." The 3 girls clapped in unison. Someone from the next dorm knocked on the wall. "Stop messing around." Zhao Ying shouted back, "We are cultivating masters." I laughed so hard I collapsed onto the table. My phone lit up at that moment. Zhou Yan sent a message. "Did you write that article?" 2 seconds later. "Lin Tang is really worried about you. Why don't you reply to her?" I stared at the screen, my smile slowly fading. His sentences were still like this. He reached out to me, not because he wanted to know how I was doing. It was because Lin Tang was worried. It was because I didn't show up in the way they were used to. I opened the chat window and, for the first time, replied to him seriously. "Don't ask me on her behalf anymore." After the message was sent, Zhou Yan's side showed typing. It stopped. Then it showed again. In the end, he only sent one line. "What do you mean?" I replied, literally what I said. This time, I didn't wait for his reply. I put my phone aside and continued editing the video. At 1 a.m., the rough cut of the film was finished. Xiao Yin pressed the play button. The dormitory lights were off, leaving only the computer screen glowing. The sound of rain came through the speakers. The child stared into the lens, eyes dark and bright. The old umbrella repairman lowered his head to thread the needle, his fingers rough, the needle tip glinting. The evening light flickered, and the screen went dark. No one spoke in the dormitory. A few seconds later, Zhao Ying sniffled. "Damn. That fish stall made me both hungry and teary-eyed." Xiao Yin kicked her. "Get lost." He looked at me. Suji. Submit it. I was stunned. Submit what? The college freshman photography exhibition. Xiao-yin immediately sat up straight. Right. Suji. You and I will co-sign. I waved my hand. The footage was shot by you. She said. The structure was saved by you. Without you, it would just be a 10-minute fish stall. Zhao Ying raised her hand. I can testify. He said. I can testify too. Xiao Yin pulled out the registration form, the cursor hovering over the team member column. She asked, should I put your name down? I looked at that column. I wanted to say no. Wanted to say I was just helping. Wanted to say don't bother. Those words reached the tip of my tongue, only to be swallowed back down. I remember the moment I pressed submit in the application system. I remember the name on the bed by the window. I remember the teacher calling out, "Who is Suji?" I said. Right. Xiao Yin typed 2 characters. Suji. The sound of the keyboard was very soft. I heard it loud and clear. Zhou Yan's call came on the night the shortlist for the image exhibition was announced. At that time, I was walking out of the teaching building with Xiao Yin. It had just rained in Nanchang, and the ground was pitted with puddles. The streetlights were reflected in the water, only to be shattered by footsteps. When my phone vibrated, I saw the caller ID and paused for a moment. Xiao Yin asked, "Don't want to take it?" I nodded. She said, "Then don't take it." The call ended on its own. 3 seconds later, another call came in. Xiao Yin hugged the camera, raising an eyebrow. An X. I shook my head. An old habit. She didn't ask further, only said, "Habits are the worst, they make your hands itch when you try to quit." I hung up the phone. Zhou Yan sent a voice message. Before I opened it, my finger paused. In the end, I converted it to text. Suji. You're not even answering calls now. Second message. Lin Tang is crying. Third message. What exactly do you want us to do? I stood under the street lamp, the dampness from the rain seeping into my pant legs. Back then, whenever Lin Tang cried, everyone would look at me. Zhou Yan would say, "Suji, go comfort her." The teacher will say, "You girls are close. Go and talk to her." Even Lin Tang herself would tug at my sleeve and say, "Ji, I only have you." But the next moment, she would turn around and discuss everything with Zhou Yan, leaving me outside the door. I typed. She cried. So she went to find the one who made her cry. Zhou Yan quickly replied, "It's you." I stared at those 2 words, and my chest didn't ache as I had expected, only a chill remained. Then she should get used to it. After this message was sent, Zhou Yan was silent for a long time. Xiao Yin and I walked toward the dormitory. As we passed the sports field, the lights on the football pitch were still on. A group of boys were playing football in the aftermath of the rain, their soles trampling the turf, sending mud and water flying. Xiao Yin said, "That line you just said was pretty cool." I said, "My hands are shaking." She looked down. My fingers were indeed trembling. She shifted the camera to the other side, freed one hand, and handed me a mint candy. "I've already sent the video. And once it's sent, it counts." The mint candy was very cold, pressing against the tip of my tongue, its sharpness rushing all the way up to my nasal cavity. I nodded. The final selection for the video exhibition would be in a week. Our film is called Under the Awning. Xiao Yin was in charge of filming, and I handled editing and the written narration. After passing the initial selection, the college instructor called us to the office. The instructor, whose surname was Jiang, was in his 40s and spoke in a crisp, straightforward manner. After watching the film, she tapped the table. "Your perspective is very steady. Not sensational, quite rare." Xiao Yin's mouth was almost stretching to her ears. Teacher Jiang looked at me. "Did you write the text?" I said, "Yes." "Are you interested in joining the college's documentary workshop?" My heart skipped a beat. Teacher Jiang took out the registration form. "There are only a few spots. You'll need to interview, submit a portfolio, and follow the teacher on projects. It's very demanding." I reached out and took the watch, the edge of the paper brushing against my fingertips. I want to give it a try. She nodded. Then get ready. Walking out of the office. Xiao-yin was even more excited than I was, grabbing my shoulders and shaking me. Su-ji, you're about to take off. She shook me until I felt dizzy. I haven't even had the interview yet. Then let's celebrate first. After Xiao-yin found out. She hung a piece of paper at the dormitory door. The sign read, "Countdown to Su-ji's workshop interview. No loitering." Su-ji organized a list of my past works for me. Xiao-yin accompanied me as I revised the footage over and over. And Xiao-yin took charge of feeding me every day. For the first time, I felt that being pushed forward wasn't because they wanted me to serve someone. It was because they truly believed I could do it. On the day of the interview, I wore a white shirt with neatly ironed cuffs. In the hallway, a dozen or so students were seated, some holding award certificates, others flipping through portfolios. My palms were sweating. And I had softened the edges of the registration form by fidgeting with them. When the guy ahead of me came out, he didn't look too happy. His friend asked, "Was the teacher's question tough?" He said, "He asked why I took this photo." And my mind went blank. I looked down at the description of my own photo. Why shoot under the awning? Because when I was a child, I always stood behind others, learning to look at the corners no one else noticed. I didn't write that sentence. What I wrote was, "The awning is a temporary shelter, and also a fleeting intersection where people pause in a moving city." When it was my turn, the door opened from the inside. I walked in. 3 teachers sat behind a table, the projection screen hanging down on the wall. The air filled with the scent of tea and printer paper. Teacher Jiang was also there. She asked, "Su-ji, you didn't add any narration to the film. Why?" I held the hands resting on my knees. Because they were already speaking. The teacher looked up. I continued. The fishmonger calling out prices. The old umbrella repairer threading the line. Children splashing in puddles. Raindrops tapping on the awning. These sounds have already kept them there. Adding my narration would only drown them out. The male teacher in the middle nodded and then asked, "What do you think is your biggest weakness?" I said, "My technical foundation isn't strong enough." "Then what makes you think you can get into the workshop?" That question hit hard. And my back stiffened. In the past, I would have backed off first. I would have said I could learn. I would have said the teacher gave me a chance. I would have said I wouldn't hold anyone back. But that day, I remembered Zhou Yan's words. "You wouldn't understand anyway." I remembered Lin Tang saying, "Su-ji can just handle the logistics." I lifted my head. Because I can see what others overlook. The office fell silent for 2 seconds. Teacher Jiang smiled. "Be more specific." I set the film to 3 minutes and 17 seconds. In the frame, the elderly umbrella repairer lowers his head to thread a needle, while the child beside him shifts his own umbrella slightly over the old man's head. The action is brief, lasting only a second. I press pause. I've watched this shot over and over again. The old man didn't say thank you. And the child didn't look at the camera. But there was an exchange between them. I wanted to capture that exchange. The male teacher stared at the screen, then looked at me. "You're very good at staring at people." I didn't know if this was a compliment or something else. My fingers gripping the edge of the chair. Teacher Jiang said, "Making documentaries is all about keeping an eye on people. But you mustn't disturb them." She jotted down a few notes on the form. "Go home and wait for the notice." As I walked out of the office, my legs felt a bit weak. The window at the end of the hallway was open, and the wind rustled the notice board. I leaned against the wall and slowly let out a breath. My phone lit up. Zhou Yan sent a photo. Kyoto University Club recruitment. He and Lin Tang stood in front of the debate club booth. The caption was just one sentence. "Lin Tang won the Best Debater Award in the freshman competition today." I looked at the photo and suddenly smiled. He still thought that as long as he sent me Lin Tang's highlight moments, I would rush over to congratulate her like before, and incidentally place myself back into their world. I turned off my phone. This time, I didn't hit the like button. The workshop acceptance list was announced on Friday afternoon. I came out of my elective class, and the hallway was packed with people leaving class, footsteps, chatter, and the sound of skateboard wheels all mixed together. Xiao Yin rushed over from the stairwell, holding up her phone. Suji. She shouted so loudly that half the people in the hallway turned to look. My heart suddenly tightened. She ran up to me and shoved her phone screen in my face. Third line of the list. Suji. I saw my own name, and my mind went blank for a moment. The next second, Zhao Ying pounced on me from behind, nearly slamming me into the wall. You made it. You got in. Suhi was panting as she followed behind, still holding books in her arms. I told you she could do it. Xiao Yin started taking photos. Come on. Give us your acceptance speech. I raised my hand to block the camera. Don't film. Have to film first-hand material for the future master's documentary. Zhao Ying held up the milk tea bag. I bought 4 cups. Suji gets it free. Suhi said. No studying tonight. Let's celebrate. I was surrounded by them. The wind from the corridor blowing in through the window, lifting the stray hairs on my forehead. I wanted to smile, but my nose tingled first. Not because the hard times had finally paid off, but because at this moment, I didn't need to catch up to anyone, nor prove that I deserved to stand by someone's side. They stood beside me, because I am who I am. In the evening, we ate grilled fish at the small shop behind the school gate. When the iron plate was brought to the table, the aroma of chili and garlic filled the entire table, with oil sizzling loudly. Zhao Ying was so overwhelmed by the spiciness that she kept gulping down water. Yet she stubbornly insisted it wasn't spicy. Xiao Yin picked the fish belly and placed it in my bowl. The hero gets to eat this. I said. You're the director. She replied. Then the director serving food to the editor makes perfect sense. Suhi raised her glass. To Suji entering the workshop. 3 cups clinked together, the plastic cups making a crisp sound. I also raised my glass. Thank you all. Zhao Ying, with noodles stuffed in her mouth, said. Don't just say thanks. When you make it big in the future, remember to treat us to seafood. Xiao Yin said. I want to eat something expensive. Suhi thought for a moment. I want a set of out-of-print books. I nodded. Buy them all. They burst into laughter. The phone vibrated on the table. This time, it was Lin Tang. Ji, Zhou Yan and I will come to Nanqing to see you this weekend. I stared at the screen as the steam from the grilled fish rose, stinging my eyes. She sent another message. We just happen to be free. Zhou Yan said you must be having a hard time over there alone. I typed back. No need. She quickly replied. Don't be like that. We're the ones reaching out to you. Initiative. I stared at these 2 words. My chopsticks frozen midair. Back when I sought them out, it was called being clingy. When they came to me, it was called offering an olive branch. Lin Tang continued to send messages. Gigi, you're really hurting people like this. I put down my chopsticks. Zhao Ying noticed and asked. Is it that old habit again? I nodded. Xiao Yin pushed the phone a little closer to me. Do you want us to help you scold him? I shook my head and replied myself. Don't come. I have plans this weekend. Lin Tang. What could be more important than us? I looked at that sentence, and the slight heat in my stomach suddenly sank. What could be more important than us? She wasn't asking if I was busy. What she was asking was, what gave me the right to put other things ahead of them? I replied. That's my business. There was a long pause on the other end. Zhou Yan's message popped up. Do you have to speak with such a sharp tongue now? I replied. You don't have to read it if you don't want to. Zhou Yan said. We care about you. Why are you putting on airs? I stared at that line of text, my fingers turning cold. Zhao Ying was biting her chopsticks across from me, her eyes wide open. Who is this person? The Emperor. Xiao Yin reached out her hand. Give it to me. I'll handle it. I didn't give it to her. I typed slowly. Zhou Yan. I don't need your concern. Don't think too highly of yourself in the future. Sent. The table fell silent for a second. Zhao Ying suddenly slammed the table. Great. The people at the next table looked over. She immediately lowered her head to drink water. I smiled. Picked up my chopsticks. and grabbed some fish. My phone vibrated a few more times. I didn't look. That night, as I returned to the dormitory, a wind picked up in the southern part of the city. The branches along the road scraped against the lampposts, making a faint, rustling sound. Xiao-Yin walked beside me and suddenly said, "Su-ji, were things really hard for you before?" I slowed my pace a little. She didn't look at me, just lowered her head and stepped on the edge of a puddle. I said, "It's not that bad." She said, "Don't pretend. You can put on a show for outsiders. But we don't buy that here." My throat tightened. Xiaoying leaned in from behind and said, "Exactly. If anyone bullies you again, all 4 of us in the dorm will take them on." He added, "I can handle writing the complaint materials." Xiao-Yin said, "I'll take care of recording the evidence." Xiaoying raised her hand and said, "I'll handle the scolding." They walked forward noisily. I walked beside them, the smell of rain and grilled fish still clinging to my clothes, holding the unfinished milk tea in my hand. The streetlights stretched our shadows long. This time, I was not the one walking at the end, with no one waiting for me. Back in the dorm, I took a shower and climbed into bed. There were over a dozen unread messages on my phone. Zhou Yan's last one read, "Su-ji, you've changed." I stared at those 4 words. I used to be most afraid of others saying that. Changed. As if it were an accusation. As if I was no longer sensible. As if I had done something wrong. I typed, "Yeah, done." I turned off the light and went to sleep. In the darkness, Zhaoying turned over and mumbled, "Su-ji, wake me up tomorrow morning. I want to have tofu pudding." I said, "Okay." She added, "Don't buy me the sweet kind. Sweet tofu pudding is heresy." Xiao-Yin cursed from the opposite bed. "You're the heretic." He whispered a reminder. "There's a class at 8 tomorrow." The dormitory fell silent. With my eyes closed, I heard the wind gently puffing the curtains. I have indeed changed. I no longer take others' discomfort as my own fault. The first outdoor shoot of the workshop was at the old port in the southern part of the city. We gathered at 5 in the morning, before dawn, with the streetlight at the school gate wrapped in a ring of damp mist. I carried the tripod on my back, the strap pressing painfully into my collarbone. Xiao-Yin was so sleepy she could barely keep her eyes open, leaning against me while clutching her camera bag. Teacher Jiang called roll, and a boy in the group was 10 minutes late, still holding a coffee as he ran over. His name was He Huai. He had a solid foundation in photography and became well known in the college not long after the semester started. He raised an eyebrow when he saw me. "So you're the one running that WeChat public account, Su-ji?" I nodded. He said, "I heard you're good at editing videos. Don't hold us back later." Xiao-Yin snapped awake instantly. "Who are you calling a dead weight?" He Huai chuckled. "Just kidding." I glanced at him but didn't respond. By the time the car reached the old port, the sky was just beginning to lighten. The sea breeze carried a salty, fishy smell as it swept over. The dock floor was slick with moisture, and in the distance, a crane moved slowly, the clanking of chains striking the ears with each beat. Our task is to shoot a short film about people at the port in the early morning, 2 people per group. He Huai and I were assigned together. Xiao-Yin muttered under her breath, "Bad luck." I slung my bag over my shoulder. "It's nothing." He Huai walked ahead, his steps quick. He chose a worker moving fish crates as his subject. After setting up the camera, he directly had the man repeat the action of lifting the crates. The worker frowned. "I still have work to do," He Huai said. "Soon. Just walk through it the way you did just now." I stood to the side, watching the worker's fingers turn pale and swollen, with ice shards packed under his nails. "He is not an actor. He has no obligation to do it again for our camera." I said, "No need to start over. Just follow the shot." He Huai turned around. "The scene is chaotic. Following the shot won't be easy to control." "He's already on the scene." He Huai's face darkened. "Do you even know how to shoot?" I gripped the radio antenna tightly. The sea breeze whipped the headphone cord against my face, stinging sharply. "In the past, I would have kept my mouth shut. I didn't want conflict. Didn't want to make things awkward. But the worker had already lifted the next fish crate. His shirt soaked through with water. Stepping step by step across the slippery ground. I said. A documentary isn't about making others perform life for us. He stared at me. You sure know how to talk. I didn't argue with him anymore. Picked up the boom pole. And followed the worker. The wet floor was slippery. And I nearly fell, catching myself on the cold iron railing. My palms scraped by rust. The worker turned back and said, "Little girl, don't get too close. It's no fun if a crate falls on you." I said, "Okay." He chuckled. "You students sure are restless. Coming here before dawn." I asked, "What time did you arrive?" 2 o'clock. "Every day?" "Depends on the ships. I come whenever there's a ship." His voice mingled with the sea breeze. Some words carried away by the wind. I pressed the boom mic down a little further. On the other side of the lens. He who had been standing far away, eventually followed along. After the workers moved the last crate, they sat by the shore and lit up cigarettes. The cigarette tip glowed briefly in the pale gray sky. I asked him, "What time of day do you like the port best?" He thought for a moment. "When the workday ends." "Why?" He exhaled a puff of smoke and said, "I can go home." This sentence was very short, yet I felt it could serve as an ending. After returning to school, he insisted on using the stable footage he had filmed himself. I insist on using that tracking shot. In the editing room. The computer fan whirs hot. The air conditioner is set to 22 degrees. Yet my fingers still sweat. He says, "That part of yours is shaking badly." I say, "But it has breath." He let out a laugh. "Suji, don't impose your own literary sensibilities on every film." Xiao-Yin snapped the laptop shut. "Can't you speak properly?" Teacher Jiang happened to push the door open and walk in. "What's all the arguing about?" He sat up straight. "Teacher, we have a disagreement about the structure." Teacher Jiang looked at me. "You explain." I showed her both versions of the ending. One version was the sunrise over the sea that he had filmed steady shot. Good colors. One version shows a worker sitting by the shore, saying he can go home. Teacher Jiang looked at it and asked, "Why did you choose this one?" I said, "Because the earlier shots captured his labor, so the ending should return to him as a person. Not to the sea." Teacher Jiang said nothing and turned to look at He. "And you?" He pressed his lips together. "Sunrise has more visual impact." Teacher Jiang tapped the table. "Visuals aren't meant to overwhelm. In documentaries, people matter more than pretty pictures." He-Huai's face darkened. Teacher Jiang said, "Do it Su-Ji's way." The editing room fell silent. I lowered my head to adjust the timeline. My fingers pressing on the mouse. The scratch on my palm stinging from the sweat. He-Huai sat beside me, not saying a word for a long time. When the evening screening ended and the workers' line "Can Go Home" came out, no one in the classroom moved. After 3 seconds of black screen at the end, applause began. It wasn't very loud, but each clap landed firmly. Teacher Jiang said, "This group's structural completion is the highest." Xiao-Yin mouthed to me from the back row. "Awesome." I lowered my head and smiled. When the screening ended, He-Huai walked over to me. I thought he was going to make another sarcastic remark. He was silent for a moment, then said, "You're right." I was a bit surprised. He turned his face away. "But next time, I'll still argue." I said, "That's fine." He glanced at me. "Don't hold back either." I slung my backpack over my shoulder. "I won't." As I walked out of the teaching building, my phone buzzed with a friend request from a stranger. Note: classmate Zhou Yan. "I'd like to ask you something." I tapped on the profile picture. It was someone from the Kyoto University Debate Club. Another line popped up in the application. "Zhou Yan hasn't been himself lately. Did you two have a fight?" I stared at the line, then tapped my finger once. Rejected. The reason field was left blank. A few seconds later, Lin Tang sent a message. Ji, can you reply to Zhou Yan? He made a mistake in today's competition." I stood on the steps of the teaching building. the salty taste left by the sea breeze still clinging to my hair. I replied, "No, Lin Tang. You weren't like this before." I read this sentence twice, then replied, "I wasn't living for him before either." After sending it, I deleted the 3-person group chat. The moment the group chat disappeared from the list, a clean patch appeared on my phone screen. I looked up. The moon over the southern city hung above the teaching building, pale and cold. I slipped my phone into my pocket and walked toward the dormitory. 3 days after I deleted the group chat of 3. Zhou Yan came to Nanchang. That day happened to be the award ceremony for the freshman image exhibition. Under the awning won first prize. The lights in the auditorium shone on the stage. The seats below were filled with people. And the air-conditioning breeze pressed the hem of the skirt against my legs. When the host called out my name and Xiao Yin's, my palms still began to sweat. Xiao Yin whispered beside me, "Don't shake. Stand steady. I'll take you up there." I said. "You're shaking too." She gritted her teeth. "Don't call me out." We go up on stage together. The certificate is handed to me. Its paper stiff, the edge pressing against my thumb. Below the stage, Zhao Ying and Su He are wildly snapping photos with their phones. Zhao Ying's mouth is wide open, shouting something I can't make out. Teacher Jiang stands in the front row, nodding at me. I held the award certificate and smiled at the camera. At that moment, I wasn't thinking about Zhou Yan or Lin Tang. But fate can sometimes be a real killjoy. After the event ended, I walked out of the auditorium holding flowers and immediately saw Zhou Yan standing at the bottom of the steps. He was wearing a black t-shirt, carrying a backpack, and his hair was slightly tousled by the humid air of the southern city. He had lost a bit of weight since I last saw him a few months ago. I stopped in my tracks. Xiao Yin followed my gaze and said, "Old habits." I grunted in acknowledgement. Zhao Ying immediately stood beside me. "Do you need a bodyguard?" Su He said. "I can stay within 10 meters. I looked at Zhou Yan. He also looked at me, his gaze falling on the flowers and certificate in my arms, his brows slowly furrowing, as if discovering for the first time that I, too, could hold such things. I said, "You two go back first." Xiao Yin was uneasy. "Are you sure?" "I'm sure." She lowered her voice. "If you're not back in 3 minutes, I'm coming in." Zhao Ying said. "I'll handle the scolding." Su He said. "I'll take care of the emergency call plan." I was amused by them and curved the corners of my mouth. Zhou Yan's face darkened even more at the sight. After they walked away, he spoke. "You won an award." I said. Why didn't you tell us?" I looked at him. "Us." Zhou Yan's Adam's apple moved. "Lin Tang and I said. "There's no need." He took a step forward. "Su Ji, you won't even tell me about things like this now." People were still coming and going at the entrance of the auditorium, and the wind rustled the wrapping paper on the bouquets. I hugged the flowers tighter. "Zhou Yan, why are you here?" He stared at my face. "Lin Tang is sick." I fell silent. He continued. "She's been in a bad state lately, always saying you've abandoned her. Today she had a fever, and I took her to the infirmary. She kept calling your name." I asked. "So what?" Zhou Yan seemed choked. "Shouldn't you go see her?" I looked at him and suddenly found it absurd. He had traveled for hours to my school, and on the night I just won an award. His first words weren't congratulations. He said Lin Tang was sick. He said I should go see her. He still treats my life as a backup medicine chest in their relationship. I said, "I shouldn't." Zhou Yan's gaze turned cold. "Su Ji, when did you become so heartless?" I smiled. "Now that you finally need me." The muscles on his face tightened. I continued. "What were you doing when I was sick?" Zhou Yan said nothing. I reminded him. Before the second mock exam of senior year, I had a fever of 39 degrees. I sent Lin Tang a message asking her to help me hand in my leave note. She replied that she was saving seats with you in the library and told me to find the class monitor myself. As for you, the next day you threw the test paper at me, saying I had missed too many classes and shouldn't drag down the group's average score. Zhou Yan's lips moved slightly. And then there was the school anniversary in sophomore year. I sprained my ankle. And you two made me go backstage to move props. Lin Tang said she couldn't because she was wearing a skirt. And you told me not to be so fussy. That day, I limped back and forth 3 times. And my foot swelled so much I couldn't even put on my shoes. With every word I said. Zhou Yan's face grew a shade paler. I never spoke of these things before. Not speaking doesn't mean they never happened. A few osmanthus flowers were blown off the tree beside the auditorium by the wind, landing on the steps, their fragrance faint. Zhou Yan said in a low voice. I don't remember. I nodded. Yes. You don't remember. I looked into his eyes. Because it's not you who feels the pain. For a moment, panic flickered in his eyes. This is the first time I've seen that expression on Zhou Yan's face. Before, he always stood steady, as if the world should adjust to his pace. Now, standing in the damp night of the southern city, he finally can't find a single word to silence me. His voice lowered. Su Ji, I didn't come here today to argue with you. I asked. Then what are you here for? He was silent for a long time. You deleted the group and didn't reply to messages. I just wanted to see what you were actually doing. I said. Now you've seen it. His gaze fell again on the flowers in my arms. Are these people treating you well? Yes. How long have you known them? It has nothing to do with time. Zhou Yan curled the corner of his mouth. Are you really that easy to be coaxed away by someone else? The calm in my chest was torn open by his words. I tightened the flowers in my arms, the edge of the wrapping paper digging into my wrist. Zhou Yan. It wasn't someone else who coaxed me away. I said word by word. It was you who pushed me away. His eyes reddened slightly, his voice hoarse. Then what do you want us to do? Apologize to you? Fine. I'll apologize. He said it too hastily. As if an apology was a key card that could swipe open a door. Sorry. Is that enough? I looked at him. My chest didn't feel any lighter. Only a chill. No. Zhou Yan froze. I said. You're apologizing now because I'm not going back. Not because you truly know where it hurts. He opened his mouth as if to speak. I took a step back. Zhou Yan. Go back and take care of Lin Tang. He suddenly reached out and grabbed my wrist. The bouquet swayed. And a few petals fell to the ground. I immediately pulled my hand away. Let go. He didn't let go. Su Ji. Don't be like this. His fingers were gripping so tightly that my bones ached. I looked up at him. I said. Let go. Zhou Yan seemed stung by my gaze. And his hand loosened. A ring of red marks was left around my wrist. Xiao Yin's voice came from behind. Su Ji. I turned around. The 3 of them were standing not far away. Xiao Yin had already raised her camera. The lens aimed at Zhou Yan. Zhao Ying's face was grim. Classmate. Keep your hands to yourself. Suho held up her phone. I've already started recording. Zhou Yan's face changed. What do you mean by this? Xiao Yin said coldly. We're protecting our friend. Friend. When those 2 words fell, my nose tingled. I walked over to them. Zhao Ying shielded me from behind. Not letting up with her words. Just because you're from Jingda. You think you can drag people around at someone else's school gate. Nanqing doesn't have your family's household register, does it? Zhou Yan looked at me. A hint of embarrassment and disbelief in his eyes. He probably never imagined that one day someone else would be standing by my side. And those people were not sent by him. I said to him, don't come anymore. With that, I left together with them. After walking a long distance, Xiao Yin finally put down the camera. I didn't take any photos. Just scared him. Zhao Ying held my wrist. Does it hurt? He pulled out a wet wipe and a band-aid from her bag. Let me clean it first. I looked at them surrounding me. My eyes burning hot. Xiao Yin said awkwardly. If you want to cry, go ahead. Winning an award today allows for complicated emotions. I shook my head. Not crying. I looked down at my name on the certificate. I am very happy today. That night, Zhou Yan stood at the bottom of the auditorium steps for a long time. I didn't look back. After Zhou Yan returned, Lin Tang finally called me. I didn't answer. She switched to sending long messages. Zhi. Zhou Yan, coming to find you wasn't my idea. I'm just sick and called out your name. How could you let your friend treat him like that? I stared at the screen, motionless for a long time. Zhao Ying, watching from the side, was furious. How dare she turn the blame around on you? Xiao Yin said. Classic, when she gets hurt, the whole world owes her. When you get hurt, you're just too sensitive. Su He pushed up her glasses. I suggest blocking her. I tapped on Lin Tang's profile picture. My finger hovered over the block button. I wanted to explain once. Wanted to tell her that Zhou Yan grabbed my wrist. Wanted to tell her that day was my award ceremony. But I know Lin Tang too well. She would say, Zhou Yan was just anxious. She would say, Zhi, why do you always think of things so negatively? She would say, we've known each other for so many years, and you don't even have this little bit of trust. I pressed the block button. The screen jumped back to the chat list. Cleared. After that day, my life suddenly sped up. The workshop had weekly outdoor shoots, video editing, writing proposals, and running interviews. For the first time, I followed teacher Jiang to film the renovation of an old community building. The hallway was heavy with moisture, the wall paint peeling off. An elderly person sat at the doorway picking vegetables, while children rushed down the narrow stairs after school, their backpacks clattering against the iron handrails. I was in charge of interviewing a grandmother who lives alone. Her surname is Luo, 72 years old, with her children living elsewhere. After the camera was set up, she was very nervous, constantly rubbing her apron with her hands. I didn't rush to ask questions. I just sat across from her and helped her peel garlic. Garlic skin stuck to the fingertip. Its taste pungent. Grandma Luo slowly began to speak, mentioning which step in the old building gets slippery when it rains. How the child on the third floor cries every morning at 7:30 on the way to school. And how she used to work in a textile factory when she was young. Her hands so quick that she could earn an extra half-jean ration ticket. As she finished, she took out a yellowed group photo from the cabinet. I asked, which one is you in this photo? She pointed to the girl at the very edge. This one. The one on the side. In the photo, young her stood beside a group of people, only half of her body visible. I stared at the photo, and my heart was gently jolted. Grandma Luo said with a smile. Back then, I always stood on the sidelines. Later, when I thought about it, there was nothing wrong with the sidelines, at least I knew how everyone else was standing. I gripped the voice recorder tightly, my fingers tensing. After filming, I returned to school and put this clip into the film. The film was titled On the Sidelines. After watching the rough cut, teacher Jiang asked, did you put yourself into it? I didn't deny it. She said, it's fine, but don't let yourself drown out the characters. I nodded. I'll revise it. The film was later shortlisted for the Provincial University Documentary Short Film Exhibition. When the news came out, I was in the editing room eating a cold rice ball. Xiao Yin kicked the door open, nearly knocking over the broom behind it. Su Ji, we made the shortlist. A rice ball got stuck in my mouth, choking me and making me cough. He Huai handed me some water, his tone full of disdain. Can't you have a little more dignity? I took a gulp of water, my eyes fixed on the list. By the side, directed by Su Ji. Not assistants, not logistics, not who else. It's my name. Everyone in the editing room gathered around. Someone patted my shoulder. Someone said to treat them to a meal. Someone asked when the film would be screened. I sat in the chair, my feet on the floor, feeling the entire room tremble slightly. A text message from an unknown number lit up my phone. Su Ji. It's Lin Tang. I changed my number. Why did I hear about your shortlisting from someone else? I stared at the text message, my fingers not trembling. I deleted it. That evening, the school's official account posted the shortlisting announcement. My photo is placed as the second one on the cover. I'm wearing a black coat, standing in the hallway of an old building, holding a voice recorder in my hand. My gaze looking beyond the camera. Someone left a comment in the replies. Senior Su Ji is so cool. I stared at that senior and felt a little amused. I'm only a freshman. But being called that, I could actually take it. That tweet quickly spread to the high school class group. I had already left the group, but Zhao somehow got a screenshot. Classmate A. Is this Su Ji? She's changed so much. Classmate B. Wasn't she always hanging out with Zhou Yan and Lin Tang before? Classmate C. I heard she's pretty impressive now, winning awards for both her articles and videos. Classmate D. Do Zhou Yan and Lin Tang know about this? Below the screenshot. Zhou Yan did not reply. Lin Tang didn't either. But late that night, Zhou Yan sent me an email. The subject line was, Su Ji, let's talk. I didn't open it. The next day, He Huai reminded me that the provincial exhibition would feature a creator interview, and the organizers would invite the teams of the shortlisted works to participate in a roundtable. The list also included a project from the School of Journalism and Communication at Jing University. When I saw the words Jing University, my heart only stirred slightly. Xiao Yin leaned in. It can't be that coincidental, can it? Zhao Ying bit her lollipop. So what if it is? What's there to be afraid of? I'm now Nuhula Shuji. Su, he said. Please don't throw her into the palace intrigue arena. I smiled and flipped the list down. Kyoto University Project Leader. Lin Tang. Supervising Student. Zhou Yan. My fingertips paused for a moment. A few seconds later, I closed the list. Xiao Yin asked cautiously, Are you okay? I said, I'm fine. Zhao Ying stared at me. Really fine. I looked up at them. This time, it's my screening. I said, It doesn't matter who comes. As soon as the words left my mouth, I was stunned myself. It turns out I can already say that. It's not out of spite. It's not about showing off. It's that I truly immersed myself in my own matters. The provincial exhibition was held in Beijing. This is the first time I've returned to that city since I left. As the high-speed train pulled into the station, the familiar rows of buildings outside the window slid backward, a gray sky pressing down on the tracks, while the broadcast announcement fell from the ceiling of the carriage. I carried my laptop bag on my back, clutching the screening pass in my hand. Xiao Yin came with me, while Zhao Ying and Su He cheered us on remotely from the dorm, flooding the group chat with dozens of messages. Zhao Ying, Su Ji, go up there and charm them to death. Su He, watch your wording, it's a professional expression. Xiao Yin, I'll be in charge of capturing the ultimers' expressions. I smiled as I read the messages. The venue was at the City Cultural Center, with glass doors polished to a shine, and visitors had to go through security upon entry. In the lobby, posters of the shortlisted works were displayed. At a glance, I spotted on the edge. On the poster, Grandma Luo stood at the entrance of the old building, holding that old photograph in her hands. My name is printed below. Su Ji. Xiao Yin took several photos with her phone. I need to get this one printed and put it up in the dorm. I was about to tell her not to exaggerate when someone called out to me from behind. Ji. I turned AR. Ound. Lin Tang stood a few steps away. She had lost weight. Her hair was cut short, and she wore a white suit skirt, holding exhibition materials in her hand. Zhou Yan stood behind her, his gaze fixed on me, not looking away for a long time. After months apart, there were heavy dark circles under his eyes. Lin Tang approached, smiling with effort. Long time no see. I nodded. Long time no see. She glanced at my poster. You're really amazing now. I said, thank you. Lin Tang's smile froze for a moment. Before, when she praised me, I would rush to say, no, I'm not as good as you all. Now I just accept it. She lowered her head, pinching the corner of the documents. Ji, I sent you text messages, but you never replied. I said, I blocked you. Her face turned pale. Zhou Yan finally spoke. Su Ji. His voice was lower than before. I looked at him. He looked like he had a lot to say. But the hall was bustling with people coming and going. Volunteers carrying materials back and forth. and the loudspeaker reminding the roundtable guests to prepare for entry. He only said, "After the screening ends, can we talk?" I said, "Depends on the time." Lin Tang quickly added, "We'll wait for you." I didn't answer anymore. Xiao Yin took my arm and led me toward the registration desk. She lowered her voice. "See. They're waiting now like they're awaiting an audience with the emperor." I was amused by her. Before the roundtable began, the host took us backstage. Kyoto University's project was scheduled before ours. They filmed a campus public service project with exquisite visuals and a complete structure. Lin Tang, as the person in charge, went on stage to speak. She was still very good with words. Her voice was gentle, her logic clear. When she mentioned the team, she glanced at Zhou Yan in the audience. Zhou Yan applauded her. In the past, I would have been clapping along in a corner, feeling both bitter and envious. Now I sit in the waiting area, flipping through my own speech draft. It was time for the screening of On the Edge. The lights dimmed. Grandma Luo's voice echoed through the hall. "When I was young, I was quick with my hands." Everyone in the factory knew that. In the frame, the old building's staircase is narrow. A child rushes down, and an elderly person steps aside, steadying themselves against the wall. The camera does not flinch, steadily following that hand on the wall. In the end, she points to herself at the edge of the group photo and says, "There's nothing wrong with being on the edge." Black screen. The room falls silent for 2 seconds. Applause rings out. I walk onto the stage, and the lights fall, making it hard to keep my eyes open. The host asks, "Su Ji, why are you interested in such a person?" I hold the microphone, my palm dry, because I used to always stand on the sidelines. The audience fell silent. I continued, "People on the sidelines don't necessarily lack stories. Often, it's just that the camera can't be bothered to turn their way." I saw Teacher Jiang in the first row nodding slightly. I also saw Zhou Yan's expression gradually change in the back row. The host asked, "So after finishing this film, what changes have you experienced?" I said, "I no longer wait for others to turn the camera toward me." The microphone carried my voice to every corner of the hall. I picked up the camera myself. The applause was even louder than before. Xiao Yin clapped desperately from the audience, her eyes shining with an almost startling intensity. After the roundtable discussion, the judges announced that On the Edge had won the Best Emerging Work award. The trophy was cold metal when it was handed to me, its weight pressing into my palm. The photographer called for me to look at the camera. I lifted my head. The flash went off. In that instant, I saw Zhou Yan standing outside the crowd. He wasn't clapping. His eyes were very red, his lips pressed into a thin line. Lin Tang stood beside him, the documents in her hand crumpled. After the awards ceremony ended, Xiao Yin went to collect the materials for me. I walked toward the rest area holding the trophy, and Zhou Yan stopped me. His voice was tense. "Su Ji, can we talk now?" I glanced at the time. 10 minutes. He nodded, as if afraid I might change my mind. We walked to the terrace on the side of the hall. The wind outside was cold, making the glass door tremble slightly. Zhou Yan stood in front of me, silent for a long time. I said, "You have 9 minutes left." His Adam's apple moved. "I've seen your scans." "Yeah, I've also read your previous articles, the photo exhibition, and the public account." I didn't say anything. He said in a low voice, "I didn't know you could do these things before." I watched the car lights on the distant overpass, streaks of them passing by. "There are many things you don't know." Zhou Yan's hands hung by his sides, his knuckles turning white. "I thought you would always be here." When these words came out, his voice trembled slightly. I turned to look at him. The redness in his eyes could no longer be suppressed, and he seemed to have all the strength drained from him. "Su Ji, I really thought you would always be here." I said, "I know. That's why he dared to ignore it. That's why he dared to notify me at the last 10 minutes. That's why he dared to say, 'Are you happy now?'" Zhou Yan took half a step forward, then stopped, as if recalling the last time he grabbed my wrist. That day in the southern part of the city. I shouldn't have touched you. I said. Those things in the past. I shouldn't have done them either. He lowered his head. His voice hoarse and strained. I thought about it for a long time after I got back. That time you had a fever. That time you sprained your ankle. That time with the umbrella. And many other things at first. I really couldn't recall them. Later, as I remembered them one by one, I realized that I had been making you give in all along. The wind tousled his hair. He raised a hand and wiped his face. It's not that I didn't know you would hurt. I just thought you wouldn't leave. I looked at him. That was probably the closest he ever came to the truth. When Zhou Yan's tears fell, I didn't feel the satisfaction I had imagined. Nor did I soften. I only feel that it's too late. Too late. He said. Su Ji. I'm sorry. This time. He didn't ask if it was enough. He just stood there. His shoulders slumped. Tears streaming down his jaw and hitting his collar. I held the trophy, the metal edge pressing into my palm. I heard you. He looked up sharply. I said. But I don't accept you coming back. Zhou Yan's pupils contracted. Su Ji. You can regret it. You can apologize. You can feel bad. I looked into his eyes. But none of this has anything to do with me anymore. His face slowly lost its color. I continued. I won't come back between you and Lin Tang. I won't keep being your buffer when you argue. Won't clean up your emotional mess. Won't show up when you need me. And won't quietly disappear when you don't. Zhou Yan's lips trembled. I don't want you to go back to the middle. I asked. Then where do you want me to go? He couldn't answer. Because he couldn't imagine a version of me that didn't revolve around them. He only panicked because he lost his familiar position, trying to put me back in place. I said. Zhou Yan. I already have my own path. He suddenly crouched down. Hands on his knees. Breathing heavily and erratically. Someone inside the glass door looked over. He lowered his head. Tears falling drop by drop onto the floor tiles. His voice shattered beyond recognition. I've lost you. I didn't help him up. Nor did I offer any comfort. I only take one step back. It's not about losing it. I said. It's that you didn't cherish it. 10 minutes were up. I turned and walked back into the hall. Behind me came Zhou Yan's muffled sobs. As if something were blocking his throat, broken. Intermittent. Ugly and pathetic. I pushed open the glass door. And the warm air hit my face. Xiao Yin stood not far away, holding my document folder in her hand. She didn't ask. Just handed me the bag. Let's go. I nodded. Let's go. Lin Tang was waiting for me downstairs at the hotel. The hotel arranged by the provincial exhibition organizers was not far from the venue. The wind grew colder at night, and the revolving door at the entrance spun round and round, carrying out the scent of perfume and coffee from the lobby. Xiao Yin went upstairs first to put things away, while I went to the convenience store to buy hot water. When I came back, Lin Tang was standing at the entrance, a white suit jacket draped over his arm. His face pale from the cold. She saw me and immediately walked over. Ji. I stopped. Her eyes were red. Can you give me 10 minutes too? I looked at the water in my hand, the plastic bag cutting into my fingers. Go ahead. She took a breath, her voice trembling. I've seen your film and listened to your speech. I didn't answer. She said. You said you used to always stand on the side. It suddenly reminded me of the graduation photo. I asked you to move a little to the side. I looked up. Her tears rolled down. At that time, I really didn't think anything of it. I just felt that Zhou Yenguo looked good standing in the middle. I never thought you'd feel hurt. I said. She grew anxious. Ji. I didn't mean to. That sentence finally came. I looked at her. Lin Tang. Just because it wasn't intentional, does that mean you don't have to take responsibility? She froze. I said. You didn't intentionally forget my birthday. You didn't intentionally take my essay and turn it into your speech. You didn't intentionally only ask about Zhou Yan every time we made plans to eat. You didn't intentionally make me queue up to pick up the cake for you. And you didn't intentionally say you weren't comfortable in a skirt the day I sprained my ankle. With each word spoken, her face grew paler by a shade. You have too many things you didn't mean to do. Lin Tang covered her mouth, her shoulders trembling. A taxi pulled over by the roadside. Its door opened, and a couple dragged their suitcases into the hotel. Glancing at us as they passed by, she lowered her voice. I really do see you as my best friend. I smiled slightly. Your best friend is always the last to know about you. She shook her head, crying. No. That's not true. I'm just used to telling Zhou Yan first. He makes decisions quickly, and I rely on him. Then why did you come to find me? She couldn't speak. I said it for her. Because I'm easy to appease. Lin Tang's crying paused for a moment. I said, Zhou Yanling. Come to me when you need me. When you're in trouble. Come to me. When you need someone to listen to you cry. Come to me. But in the truly important decisions of your life. I never had a place. Her hand clenched the suit jacket, the fabric crumpling into a ball. Gee. I know I was wrong now. I looked at her. In the past, whenever she cried like this, I would reach out and hold her. Her head would rest on my shoulder, her tears soaking my clothes. Then the next day, she would link arms with Zhou Yan and go do their own things. I was like a rag used, washed clean, and left to dry in a corner. I said, you know you're wrong only because I stopped comforting you. Lin Tang's lips turned pale. Do you have to put it so harshly? I nodded. Yes. A hint of unbearable resentment finally showed in her eyes. Suji, now that you have someone backing you up, you think you can treat me like this? Seeing her like this, the last bit of softness in my heart turned cold. So she wasn't unaware of how much she could hurt others. She's just not used to being hurt by me. I said, Lin Tang, look. You're not here to apologize at all. She froze. You're here to confirm whether I'll still let you win. The wind rushed in from the hotel entrance, making the convenience store plastic bags rustle loudly. I switched the bag to my other hand. The answer is no. Lin Tang's tears hung on her face, her whole body unsteady as she took a step back. Then what have all these years meant to us? I said, they count as losses I've endured. She raised her hand to cover her face, sobs seeping through her fingers. I walked around her and headed into the hotel. She called out from behind. Suji, what if I change in the future? I stopped but didn't turn around. That's your business. The revolving door spun in front of me. I walked inside. And the warmth enveloped my body. Through the glass door, Lin Tang outside was blurred into a hazy painting. She was crouching at the hotel entrance, her shoulders heaving. Passers-by were all staring, but I didn't go out. As I went upstairs, Xiao Yin was lying on the bed, editing photos. She saw me and immediately sat up. Another one. I placed the water on the table. Yeah. Did you win the argument? I didn't scold you. Xiao Yin stared at me. Then why are your eyes so red? I touched the corner of my eye. So I had cried after all. Not for her. It was for the version of myself who would rush over the moment I was needed. Xiao Yin didn't call me out on it. She just tossed me a pack of tissues. Tomorrow is the closing ceremony. Tonight. I'll allow you 10 minutes to be vulnerable. I caught the paper and sat on the edge of the bed. On my phone, Zhao Ying sent a voice message. Suji, no matter what monsters and demons you run into today, remember, you're the one who won the award. Hold the trophy tight. And if anyone comes at you, smash their feet with it. He sent a text. The trophy is a valuable item. Actual use is not recommended. I listened to them playing off each other, and a few more tears fell. Xiao Yin tossed a pillow over. Cry it out and go to sleep. You need to look good for the photos tomorrow. I hugged the pillow and whispered, thank you. She waved her hand. Don't mention it. It's the after-sales service of friendship. Friend. I buried my face in the pillow, catching the clean scent of the hotel's laundry detergent. I used to think friendship meant chasing after others. Now I realize that a friend is someone who stops and waits for you when you pause. After the closing ceremony, I didn't see Zhou Yan and Lin Tang again. I heard from classmates at Jingda University that their project had a good chance of winning an award, but ran into problems during the defense. when the judges asked about the team's division of labor. Lin Tang's answer was very disorganized. Zhou Yan took over, trying to help her fill in the gaps. But the two of them gave inconsistent accounts. Someone in the audience whispered. Lin Tang cried after stepping off the stage. Zhou Yan chased after her. And the two had an argument in the hallway. All of this was told to me by others. After hearing this, I simply nodded. Xiao Yin asked, "Don't you want to go see the excitement?" I shook my head. My excitement has already come to an end. On the high-speed train back to Nanchang, I placed the trophy on the small tray table. The northern cities outside the window gradually receded. Clusters of buildings turning into fields. And fields into rivers. Xiao Yin leaned back in her seat and fell asleep, holding the camera in her arms. I opened my laptop to organize the revision notes for On the Edge. Teacher Jiang said that the film could be further polished and submitted to larger student film festivals. I wrote down the new version plan on the first line of the document. My phone vibrated. Ed. It was an email notification from Zhou Yan. This title is very short. Sorry, I didn't click on it. Half an hour later, Lin Tang sent a text message. I wish you all the best in the future. I stared at that line of text and pressed delete. It wasn't out of spite. It was just unnecessary. Rain came suddenly in the southern city. By the time we exited the station, the rain was already pounding the ground, splashing up to our calves. Zhao Ying and Su He stood at the station exit, holding umbrellas. As soon as Zhao Ying saw us, she shouted, "The champion is home." Passers-by turned their heads to look back. I quickly took a few steps forward. "Don't shout." Su He took my bag. "You've worked hard." Zhao Ying stared at the trophy. "Let me touch it." The rising star. Xiao Yin raised the trophy high. "Let's go back to the dorm and enshrine it first." Umbrellas huddled together, the four of them walking in a crooked line. The wind blew the rain sideways, soaking half of Zhao Ying's shoulder as she continued cursing the weather. Su He tilted her umbrella toward her. "Stop complaining. The umbrella's about to flip." Xiao Yin said, "If my camera gets water damage." "Zhao Ying, you're paying for it." Zhao Ying bristled. "Why should I?" I walked in the middle, raindrops tapping on the umbrella surface. The sound dense and unbroken. The streetlights in the southern part of the city were soaked into warm yellow blurs by the rain. Steam rising from small roadside shops as the owner collected plastic stools at the entrance. This city is still unfamiliar, but I already know which route to the cafeteria is the shortest, which soy milk isn't sweet, which building has the hardest stairs to climb, and which editing room's air conditioner leaks. Here, I have my bed, my work, and my friends, and my name. After returning to the dormitory, Zhao Ying really placed the trophy in the center of the table. She found a piece of paper and wrote "Exclusive Shrine for Ms. Su Ji," which was immediately torn up by Su He on the spot. Xiao Yin laughed so hard she almost rolled off her chair. I took the trophy back and put it on the bookshelf. Next to it is the certificate for Under the Awning, a workshop ID, and a small bag of osmanthus flowers that Grandma Luo dried herself and gave to me. The bookshelf is not large, but little by little, it's filling up. At night, I came out after showering, and my phone lit up again. This time, it was the high school class monitor. "Su Ji, there's a class reunion next month. Are you coming? Zhou Yan and Lin Tang will also be there. Everyone really misses you." I paused in the middle of drying my hair. A few seconds later, I replied, "I won't be going. Hope you all have a great time." The squad leader replied, "Really not coming? A lot of people want to see you." I smiled. No one wanted to see me before. Now they want to see me. Mostly to see what I've become. But I am not an exhibit. I put down my phone and sat down in front of the computer. The new film still needs one more version of the plan. This time, I want to film the night buses in the southern part of the city. Filming the last bus driver. Filming the white-collar worker who overslept their stop after working overtime. Filming the student returning to school in the early hours. Filming those who move through the city in the dead of night. I typed the title into the document. The Last Bus. Xiao Yin poked her head out from the bed. Suji, you're working again. I said. I have some ideas. Let me jot them down first. Zhao groaned. Workaholic. Please go to sleep. He flipped through a book. She's got inspiration now. There's no stopping her. My typing hand paused for a moment. Inspiration. I used to have many ideas too, but no one listened when I spoke. So gradually I stopped talking. Now there are people who listen. People who tease. People who stay up late with me. And people who write my name on the first line of the team. The light from the screen reflects on my hand. My nails are trimmed short. And the red marks left by Zhou Yan's grip on my wrist have long faded. But I still remember that day at the auditorium entrance. Holding flowers and a certificate. Telling him not to come again. I also remember on the terrace in the capital. He crouched on the ground. Crying and saying he had lost me. I didn't look back. And I never will. I am not someone's third wheel. I have my own first choice. My first work. My first trophy. And my first group of friends who will truly wait for me. The rain is still falling outside the window. I typed the first sentence of the proposal. At 11:47 p.m. The last bus stops at the platform. A girl drags her suitcase aboard. She doesn't look back. After typing this line, I lean back in my chair and let out a long sigh. Zhao turned over in bed and mumbled drowsily. Suji. Tofu pudding tomorrow morning. I replied. Got it. No sugar. Xiao-yin immediately scolded. Sweet is the only right way. He said softly. Everyone shut up. Go to sleep. The dormitory is noisy again. I smile and turn off the desk lamp. As darkness falls, the sound of rain outside the window continues. Lying in bed, listening to my roommate's breathing. For the first time I am not afraid of tomorrow. Because when I wake up tomorrow, I won't have to chase anyone. I just have to keep moving forward. Hey, could you rate this story in the comments? Use a scale of 1 to 10. Please. If you like this kind of content, hit that follow button.